I want to sincerely thank everybody from the bottom of my heart for those that are here to attend and see what we're doing on this journey, and those that have been supportive of us on this journey, and those that have walked the journey with us. So thank you all. Your contributions to it have been um, uh, uh, absolutely integral to our success, and we couldn't do it without you. And for those of you that are new here today, we hope to be able to work together with you in the future and stay connected on the data network and landscape out there and see what we can do to make things better for the data space. So thanks again. Welcome, everybody. First off, my name is Aaron Dix. I've met a lot of you before. We've worked together in many of places. And that's a little bit about the history of where BettrData came from. We are a AI-driven data operations platform to help organizations get data in more quickly and efficiently from many different sources, typically your clients. And we have gone through this evolution through, I started in the database marketing space about 22 years ago, helping people do this, do the same thing, be able to ingest data from lots of different sources, and learned that it was painful. It's a challenging problem to solve. And as I did that for one of the largest companies out there that's operating at the highest levels and a couple other competitors to them, I started to identify that we were experts, that we built expertise and teams and skill sets that were well suited to solve this problem, the problem of bringing in lots of dirty data and doing that really efficiently. And again, once we started working with great folks, many of which are on the call today, we started getting feedback from you about, hey, make it faster, make it more streamlined, more efficient, have these features. And those are some of the things that you're going to see on the webinar today that have come to life or still in our backlog that Alex is going to present to you later on in the presentation. Today, the big topic that we're going to share today was the excitement of our 3.0 launch. So, when we launched BettrData as a team, we said, hey, we want to prove out that we can solve problems, data problems, big ones. And we did that. We've had some very big successes. We've released some white papers with some of your support and shown the successes that we've had with the features of the platform and the way that we're looking at the problem and the way that we're dealing with the problem. And what we didn't have was a UI UX designer and someone to make a beautiful brand for us. And we didn't have the things that aesthetically matched to some of the features and things that we were putting in place. And 3.0 is the culmination, the intersection of all of that passion that we've put in from the back end to build an application that really delivers the streamline and the efficiency of data operations with making it easier to use, integrating a user guide and an AI chatbot within the platform, putting things where they belong, and setting up the framework for where we're going in the future. And that's what 3.0 is all about. So we're really excited to share that. And then as a part of the 3.0 launch, another piece of that is our BD Select product. And we'll go a lot more in depth with that later on in the demo today. But BD Select is an additional product in the suite of our platform that allows people, once the data is standardized in a centralized location, to segment that data strategically without writing SQL or having technical first persons be involved in that process. So we're putting that into the hands of anybody that wants to query data, segment data, and then ultimately activate it for audience display or direct mail, email, etc. So we'll be walking you through more of that today as well. And then next, we'll go ahead and introduce the rest of the team that'll be presenting the webinar today.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll introduce myself real quick. I'm Alex Lauterbach, head of product here at BettrData. I've been working with BettrData in one capacity or another for really since its inception. Have worked with Aaron previously and have been otherwise building data products across several market segments for more than a dozen years at this point. And so really excited to be on the team full time now. And I will be walking us through primarily sort of the next couple sections and then doing the work to show sort of what we've accomplished thus far in BD Select. And then I'll turn that over to Paige to introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Paige Hines. I'm the head of marketing here at BettrData. A lot of the work that was done around our rebrand and telling our story and who we are out in the world was a lot of my responsibilities in joining the team, as well as orchestrating this webinar that you guys are here on today. So it's really awesome to see the growth and the brand presence, like Aaron was talking about earlier, really come to life, and we're able to now share it with all of our clients. And people who have been with BettrData throughout the process, and some new folks as well. So I'm super excited, and I'm love for you guys to see what Aaron and Alex have put together for you.
Perfect. Thank you, Paige. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about sort of why we created Better Data. Aaron touched on it at the very beginning, but I think this is a problem everyone here understands, or at least a set of problems that everyone here understands and has probably felt in one capacity or another at their current role or previous ones, or is expecting to feel in the near future. Um, as we all know, especially sort of in the marketing and ad tech side of things, but really across industries, uh, collating and managing large amounts of disparate data sources is a huge pain. This can come from many different places. We can either have too many different data sources to manage. Those underlying data sources can change rapidly. I think we've all experienced an instance where someone changes a header upstream and it breaks all downstream processes. Takes, days, if not weeks, to identify, fix, and implement into your production environment, all for, maybe changing the header from last to last name. Um, we thought that was kind of absurd and we could do better. Additionally, we know that in many cases, these big vertically integrated teams, if you're lucky, they're vertically integrated, have many either manual interventions or individuals touching and managing individual parts of your pipeline, which requires a lot of overhead and coordination. And this we can go across, data acquisition, transforming data, processing out to third parties for appends or segmentation or additional information you want to bring into, and then validation, ingestion into your database, and then activation or segmentation or whatever you're going to do with that data. Obviously, this is a pattern that's existed for a very long time, and it had served pretty well, but we realized that this could be done better. And so the entire premise here of Better Data is to really automate and leverage modern technologies, specifically um, scale and AI, to make this just a much faster, more responsive, and more robust set of processes that requires a lot less human intervention. And so what that means for us in practical terms means that we can source data from any format with basically unlimited data volume. We can then ingest it, select that data, integrate it into other parts of your workflow, and then activate or otherwise leverage that data to the rest of your processes in half the time, frequently much less than that, and for a fifth of the cost. Right here, we say that we scale input from 10 to 100x compared to previous. I frankly think that that is just a low bound. There's no real cap on what we can do here. And one of the things that we have found really interesting, and I'm going to put on my nerdy product hat here for a second, is that in many applications and in many uh, standard SaaS offerings, people get really excited about increasing the total number of monthly active users and whatnot. And we actually have this really interesting use curve that proves out what we're doing, which is we see a good bit of original setup, much less than your typical data pipeline. But then we see for any given pipeline or process that usage drop off because you kind of set it and forget it. We have sort of self-healing, self-validating, and good notifications for anytime something goes wrong in a way that we can't automatically identify and remediate. And so that's really where we're bringing the platform, and especially with BD Select, as we'll see in a moment, rounding that out so that you have a complete self-sufficient view and ability to process really all of your data across your organization. With that, I will hand it off to Aaron.
We are going to, I'm going to go ahead and share screen and start showing you some of the highlights of what we've done with the 3.0 platform. And we won't be a full demo today. It's tough to get into a large group, but what you'll see is some of the evolution of the platform. Some of you are very familiar with it from our 2X platform, and some will be seeing it for the first time. And those of you that have taken the leap with us and are already on 3.0, we'll call out some of the things that we're most proud of, and hopefully the things that you're using already. And if not, opportunity to start using these new features that we're going to share today. Just a quick note as we go into things, this is the foundation. So 3.0 is not everything. It is just the place we are at today, and we're excited about the evolution to get here. But it is just building the foundations for things that we're doing next. And that roadmap is going to come up here in another couple of slides and talking points. And we're excited about the things to come. But this 3.0 is what we're building on top of. So it is, as you see a new login screen already here, and which will come next is a new suite of authorization and authentication capabilities that we'll be launching in 3.1. So again, we'll never be perfect. You can see our even in our name, it was not spelled right from the beginning, and it'll never be spelled right. But that is because hopefully, for those of you that work with us, you'll know and agree that we are doing our best to continue pushing really hard and being the leader in the data operations space. And what that means to us is hearing your voices, and making sure we go in that direction to make the platform better all the time. So with that, I'll go ahead and share a little bit about the new platform. Things that were big pieces of our new platform were usability. So we did hire a UI UX designer to come in and change things. And for instance, we'll have a new dashboard screen that Alex has been really pushing really hard late nights to get redesigned. New panels over here on the left. So I'm going to go ahead and cruise over to our data ops screen real quick. But you'll see that a lot of new features to help the user customize the experience to their needs. And that examples of that would be things like changing the width of these things. Is this a big impact day to day? Not usually. That's not going to save you, a million hours, but it does make the experience a lot better for people that want to see it a little differently and be able to fit more stuff on the screen. And some of those things do make an impact to usability and visibility. Other things like being able to collapse the sidebar over here and just get more space, or having more abilities to filter by any of the attributes here in this data ops screen, or even move them around and get some additional adjustments on the screen so that you can see the data how you want to see it. Those were some of the focuses that we did with the UI UX designer. And of course, many thanks to Paige and her team for the color scheme, the brand, and the redesign of logos, colors, etc., that intersected with the platform in the 3.0 version. Over here on the left, you'll see things organized differently. So things are showing up a little different than how they used to, with some of the administration stuff down here at the bottom, quick hot links, a new user guide that's embedded in the platform. So for those of you that have used our user guide, that was an external platform and available on request, it is now built into the platform and always available with an AI chatbot on top of it. So you can ask questions, search, and get relevant answers back without drilling down to the particular page. But if you're one of those ones that wants to traverse in, we have it better organized than ever, always getting better again. It's never perfect, but we have a mechanism to always continue for continuous improvement. Those are a lot of the big things. As I talk about, for those of you that are new, I'll just share a high-level workflow here. This is our data ops screen, where data comes in all the time. So we're always out there detecting new data. And when new data arrives, we're going to identify it and start automatically trying to classify it. What type of data is it to you? You get to dictate what type of data you're interested in. Is it suppression data, transaction data, skew data, etc.? And our AI and machine learning will try to work its way to classify it and move it through this workflow up here at the top. So it's always doing that. One of our favorite quotes from a client was, "We love BettrData because it's always working while we're brushing our teeth in the morning." And we just love the quote because it personifies the platform to some degree. It's always out there looking for data that's been placed there by your clients, your vendors. And once it detects that data, it's going to bring it into the platform, start analyzing it. There comes some that popped up at the top there. It's going to start analyzing it, prep it for use. So is it a zip file? We'll unzip it. Is it Excel, etc.? And we're going to try to continue working it through the workflow. Another thing to call out, though, that's really important to what we do is the visibility. So being able to provide this visibility, whether it's a report or direct access for your teams and leadership teams to be able to say, hey, where is that data that we've gotten from Big Widget Company? Is it done yet? Has it arrived yet? Those type of things. And having notifications automatically set up for your teams to be aware of the state of your environment so that you can focus on getting the order sold or the product sold back to your customer and not about the actual state of the data that it's currently in. And you'll see these working their way through. As we talk through it, they're identifying what the data is, how many records that there are, if it's CASing, NCOAing the product, if it's appending data that from one of our valued data partners, all happens during these steps. And then finally, it QCs the data. It says, hey, is this correct according to your business rules? And this just passed, and you'll see it in the loading phase now going through to the end. That's the high level of what our BD Ingest platform does. Allows you to detect data, automatically trigger it, bring it in for visibility and status, analyze, transform to a standardized format. That standardized format can host data from thousands of different external formats, and we're changing it into one standardized, validated contract so that you can do your next steps in a consistent, repeatable way. Okay. All right. A couple other things that I just want to talk about was the AI. So important to the addition to our 3.0 product. You'll see it in little places all over the platform now. It was present in the 2.9 platform, but it is much more showing you what it's doing now, and it's much more in the forefront. As an example, this is a create output schema with AI, just a really nice builder that allows you to define a prompt and tell it what your goals are for building an output schema, and it analyzing the data and sending that to creation for an output schema. That used to be a copy and paste exercise in 2.0. It took some time. It wasn't difficult, but it did take some time because you wanted to get your field names right and remove underscores. And now the AI you just tell it, remove underscores, make it like this, make it all lowercase, make it all capitalized. And it does it all for you and sets up the whole thing, saving you a significant amount of time on that initial setup. Other places where we see it are, I'm going to open up our builder. And this is really key to what we do because it's always detecting how to map fields. So you can see here that, oops, excuse me, I apologize. Let's try another one. There we go. I'm opening a new one for the first time, and I wanted to show that when we click here, it's taking the AI is going out and analyzing that data for date formats, data type formats, which field should be selected. And I wanted to make this so it didn't select this field. Let's say it doesn't figure something out. The important part is now that I just did that, it just learned. So it's getting better all the time from any user input that you have to provide. It's going to get better. And then we can get to the place where we automatically map these and send those data mappings, or excuse me, send those transformations all the way through without any human intervention at all. So it really does get good about that. All the fields that are highlighted in purple were automatically picked. It did miss address 2. We filled it in, and you can kind of see where it filled in other critical fields that were required in order to satisfy the requirements here. All right, with that, turn it over to Alex for a BD Select demo.
Great. Thank you very much. Um, I wanted to start out with everybody's, I assume, favorite part of any data pipeline, which is data setup. I say that somewhat in jest. It's usually the worst part of everything. But before we get into the meat of the BD Select demo, I wanted to just highlight how easy we've made it to create a connection to any existing data source that you have, generate fields, and then we'll get into it. So the way that we've originally scoped this is just under your data sources, you have a BD Select Sources tab. And then in here, you just have to enter standard credentials. You put in the account information, you can put in username, passwords, etc. Hit save, and you're good to go. From there, you can set up all kinds of things in terms of output, in terms of the way this is described, how it can be scoped. But to me, the most exciting thing in here is fields. And so these are the attributes on your underlying data, the stuff that you'd want to, excuse me, be able to query or view or explore in an ad hoc manner. And as I'm sure you have all experienced, sometimes that number can run into the thousands. And while much like all parts of BettrData, you can go in there and manually make changes and updates, what we have created, and speaking to Aaron's last point, is really an AI-enabled version of this where we hit generate fields. In this case, I'm going to look in here to this demo data view and hit generate fields. And this is scanning all, I think, 270 million records across, dozens of fields themselves. And you'll see this run in the course of, 30 seconds or so, not even 10. And it's actually gone through and mapped every name to a label that is usually human readable and made really first guesses at field types, and to be clear, field types are how we want these to be displayed. In this case, address 01, we probably want to pick this as a contains, or in here, an exact age, we want as a multi-selection. Any number of these things are absolutely modifiable, and as indicated by what Aaron was just describing, constantly learning and improving. Every new version of this gets cleaner and faster and easier to use. So we basically went from setting up or inputting credentials to having all of our fields mapped and ready for initial exploration in about 2 minutes. This is obviously a much cleaner setup than having to go create connections in your SQL database or in your Mongo Database Explorer. And instead, we have the ability to do it right here. So diving into the BD Select app itself, first thing we do here is select a data owner. This follows the same paradigm as everything else in BettrData, where data can be scoped to individual owners. Let's say test owner A in this instance, and let's go create a new audience. So in here, we have to give it an order name. I'll just give it, if I can type this morning, webinar demo. We've already selected the owner. We'll select the data source that we just set up, and then we can put a description in there if we want. And let's say what we're interested in doing right now is relatively young, affluent renters. So across maybe a couple of different states. So we can say young renters in Colorado. From there, we'll go start to bring some of this information into our segments. And so in here, let's start with add a state. This pops up right now. This has already looked through every unique field or every unique category within the state field and categorize them. Here we'll just select Colorado. From there, we can also put in estimated age. In here, we'll select, under 35. And then we'll also here remove anyone who is got a slightly lower income. So let's just say we only want folks that are above $75,000 a year or something like that. And from this, now we can have basically created a very quick and easy to use audience. We can then save this order, and now get an order count. And this will actually go and determine the size of this audience. Right here, we'll see that this is done by segment name. You can also set this up to have crosstabs in any way you'd like them to do so. It just requires a little bit of configuration on the back end, but it's pretty straightforward. Now, let's say we wanted to also include another state, maybe California in here. What we can do then is add a new segment, and that will automatically open this next one down here, and we can say Young Renters CA. And we can start including some fields. So in here, we'll add our state again. We'll pick California this time. We'll put in estimated age. And here we'll again choose relatively young renters. And then finally, we'll also sub-select this to up to 75K as well. And just to be very explicit here, we have the included fields. So this is saying all of the results should have these attributes. And in the excluded fields, this is to say we want to remove anyone that has these specifically. Once again, we can save this order. We can get the order count. And this is once again running this query in the background. And here now we get to see sort of our available universe for each one of these named segments. It's also worth calling out a couple of nice quality of life things here. We can look at the result history to see how this query has changed through time, since inevitably people want to go and tweak and view things a little bit differently. So here we can see this is how we added a segment between our previous run and our current one. And then once we feel comfortable with these individual segments, we can go and export an order. Here we have various output schemas, and then we can run the export, whether it's to a flat file or to one of our integrations like Google Ads or LinkedIn or that type of thing, or any other destination you'd like that data to show up in. We also have a couple other things that are probably worth calling out here. One, we have the ability to schedule this. So we can, let's say, if you want to make a delivery of this data to a specific place on a regular basis, we can go ahead and schedule this on whatever cadence or to whatever destination you'd like. And finally, we have the ability to share these both within your current organization. And as Aaron mentioned earlier, as we roll out all of the authorization and authentication regimes here, to be able to share it directly to your customers themselves. So that's a quick overview. I don't want to spend too much time on this since we do have some questions and I want to talk to the roadmap, but it's something we're really excited about. We have a bunch of quality of life changes coming here in the very near future, as well as some pretty cool functionality that I'll talk to in just a moment. So let me actually switch my screen here to our presentation, and we'll talk through some of the roadmap. Great. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about our product roadmap. This first line here really talks to sort of all of the data ops as a platform, including BD Ingest. Q3 of 2025 here, we've seen the 3.0 release, as well as substantial improvements to our security, including multi-factor authentication and a lot of granular access controls, which was that I was referring to just now. We also have now in-platform guides and resources that will be coming out very shortly. Those are the kind of things where you would expect to see, a help center or a submit a ticket or a chatbot. As we roll through the end of the year, we're going to continue to see improvements in AI validations directly within your BDI and builder aspects of the platform. Also, you'll have to excuse my scratchy voice. I think I have some allergies or something, so my apologies. I was sneezing a lot earlier, so my bad there. Additionally, we have a lot of user interactions via, as Aaron mentioned, dashboards, tools, organization, navigation improvements. So just stuff that will allow you to continue to make this a fast painless process with a lot of quality of life improvements. As we look a little bit further out, one of the things that I've been really passionate about is to continue to make this the entirety of the platform friendly for both less technically sophisticated as well as extremely technically sophisticated users. And so obviously we do the sort of latter half really well, and I think we do a pretty good job for less technically sophisticated users, certainly better than any homegrown um, application out there, but I think we can do better still. And we are looking here to develop really a GUI-based pipeline creation and management system, which will allow sort of effectively drag and drop um, development and management of all of our data pipelines. And then sort of as we lean further out into 2026, um, the inclusion of new integrations and partners that we work with is going to continue to expand. We have a lot of other stuff in the pipeline here, but I don't want to spend, 2 hours talking about all the granular stuff here. Plus, as Aaron alluded to at the very beginning, a lot of this is driven by you all, our customers and our potential customers, and really helping them achieve what they need in their business goals. And so, like any software company, we are understanding of those needs and want to make sure that we're accommodating expectations and needs from the market, especially as it changes. Leaning a little bit more into BD Select here, right now is kind of our public launch, which is very exciting for me. And as we round out Q3, one of the things that I was just sort of suggesting here is that we are looking into implementing our first version of NLP query creation. So right now we have a really nice um, user interface where you can map and interact with all of your different data in a very point and click kind of way. But we want to continue to expand that such that you could say, I would like all renters in California that are between these ages that have this income level. Simply type that out and run with it from there. So really exciting from that perspective. The field creation wizard, we've actually already implemented. So that's what I was showing there. We'll continue to refine it. And then another thing in here is explicit exclusion labeling. So this is in the instance, especially as you're fulfilling customer orders and or exploring information for yourself. If we've decided, or if you've selected data to be excluded, or some data has been excluded because it was not part of your original inclusion criteria, we want to be able to name that so that you can sort of speak to that as at your need. As we continue throughout the year, we'll see sort of one-click activation, so minimizing the amount of time and setup required to say, hey, I've created this audience. I'm going to go activate it to Google Ads, making that a truly seamless process. Moving into a branded or purely white labeled experience, and then really improving that client customer access so that you can invite your users or your customers in here to self-fulfill. Inherent in that is the activation partner expansion, cross database queries. So linking this up between multiple databases and sort of persistent joins, and then AI-enabled joins and field management, and at some point, hopefully early next year, true customer self-service, where you'll be able to provision all of those users and manage their access, the data that they can export and view and what they can do. So really leaning into how to make you as independent and capable as possible as our clients. So that was my roadmap discussion. And I don't, Aaron, any closing thoughts before we move into the Q&A?
Just that, I'm very excited about the white label, and that's on the near-term horizon for us. And again, that's Alex demoed the BD Select, the low code, no code audience selection and activation platform. Thank you, Alex. And we're excited to let you white label that, be able to brand it with your colors, your logo, and invite your customers or folks that are purchasing data from you to be able to self-service and help you sell more data without doing more work, probably doing a lot less work, in fact. And we're very excited about that and how we can help propagate data out into the world through you.
Perfect. All right. Well, moving on to the Q&A. Um, Aaron, do you want to take that first one from one of our
Yeah,
uh, one
I'll
of
absolutely.
our participants.
Yeah,
read it
so
for
oh, go ahead, Paige.
just to read it out for everyone. So the first question we have, they would like to speak to entity resolution functionality within the module and whether persistent identity keys are generated and maintained in the system. Or otherwise, how would one be able to consistently link their disparate data files together if they're receiving updates on a periodic and continuous basis?
Great. That does make sense and a great question. And it comes in twofold. It's a very common use case in our platform. One, we do very static uh, match codes that are produced from postal. So they are great for address matching, household, individual, but only at the particular postal address. That works for some use cases. It works great. But there are other use cases where you simply want to know that someone is someone, regardless of what email, what phone number, IP address, hems, maids, different addresses, etc. And you want to know that it's the same person. You want a canonical reference to Aaron, as an example. And we have integration to one of our premier partners that does that at the highest levels. So you can uh, if you need that, it's a service that we turn on, and automatically when your data flows through our platform, it will come out with IDs on them that are canonical reference IDs that refer back to a particular individual, regardless of the many different ways you needed to identify them. Again, from emails, hems, maids, etc., and we'll give you the same ID back. So those are the two ways that we do it today, and both work very, very well.
Perfect. The next one, and I'm going to punt this one to you as well, Aaron, sort of a two-parter or two related questions.
Yeah.
Can you talk about how we at Better Data use AI responsibly? And then another question that was directly related, which is, does the AI learn within a single client instance or across all users?
Yeah, those are very related. So thanks for asking them together. We do believe that using AI responsibly requires us to use that learning within a single client and not across our clients. So we do not share data outside of any particular client instance. Any learning that happens is done within the context of your environment only. So that's really important in that we have taken a position to be leaders in the AI space. As some of you might know, that using AI with customer data needs to be thought through, and we are thinking through it. We are not only thinking through it, but spending a lot of money to make sure that folks that are experts in the space are reviewing our policies, procedures, responsible use guides, and helping us implement those things in our platform so that we are ahead of the curve and making sure that you can responsibly use automation and all the benefits of AI without worrying about pushing a bunch of PII or other sensitive data inside a AI model that gets persisted there. So again, we like to think that we've thought about it more than most. And so you're using by using better data, you're going to be using the best practices and being led by somebody that's really thinking about this first and foremost on how to proceed.
Great. I'm going to take the next one that's come in, I think maybe as a function of the first question that got asked in terms of identity keys and data from multiple sources. I think if I'm interpreting this correctly, there's a couple of different answers here. So the question is basically, what if we want to incorporate data from multiple sources? The short answer depends on sort of what you're looking to do here. If the answer is you have multiple sources that you want to process all in parallel, that's just how we're built. You can, as Aaron mentioned at the beginning, identify what data is what, define how you want it to be output based on the source or based on the information contained in that data itself. And sort of run from there. If the answer is if we want to join data from multiple sources, that's also a thing we do. Obviously, we just talked about external partners that we have that can do some of that sort of keying and identity management. And I'll also preview product that we're working on right now, which is really starting to expand our data partnerships so that as you want to append or segment or modify, your data, or if you're a data provider and you want to reach a broader audience, uh, we're working on products and services that will allow you to do that directly within the BettrData platform, directly in line with your existing products and your existing pipelines. So more on that in the relatively near future here, but no, that's a really exciting thing for us right now. Um,
We have we have
Go
a
ahead.
another question in the chat that just came through as well. Um, is this person ID process new to the 3.0 release? And are there added costs to append this to output files?
Thank you. It is no, it is not new to the 3.0 release. We do have it in previous releases as well, and there is an additional service that's involved and an additional service charges for it. If you're using the one that's built into BettrData at the postal level, that one is typically included in our more basic plans, our medium to high level plans. But the one where it's a canonical ID and available by hems, maids, etc., postal, all of the above, that one there is an additional service charge.
Okay. And then one last one that came in that we sort of spoke to at the very beginning, which is can users still manually adjust detected fields if needed? The answer is yes. Um, as I was alluding to, we've tried to set it up as a platform in a way that I tend to refer to somewhat tongue-in-cheek as the cookie problem. So I think it's a nice analogy because some people, when they want some cookies, they just want to go to the store, or they want DoorDash and they just want their chocolate chip cookies to show up. Other people want to go and buy their flour and their chocolate chips and make this themselves to some degree, have a lot of control over it. And other people want to have extreme control over it, where they want to go mill their own wheat and harvest their own cocoa pods and, whatever, depth they want to go to. And I think we've really fundamentally tried to make BettrData able to serve that entire breadth of, again, technological sophistication. If you want to just press a button and let everything go, we absolutely have an option for that. If you want to get down into the weeds and write code to manipulate individual pieces of data because you have some very specific needs or expectations, we allow and manage for that as well. So, yeah.
Great.
Okay. I think at this point, we've gone through most of the questions here. I think there's a few more that we might follow up on with the people that asked them. And so I guess with that, I would turn it back over to Aaron for the closing of the webinar.
First, again, I'll say I'm humbled about the attendance today. Thank you so much for participating in this with us. We will send a follow-up email to everybody that's registered to make sure that you have our contact information, a booking link from us, and ability to keep track of future webinars, future on-demand videos, and subscribe to our roadmap updates as examples. So. Again, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate all of your support. And you can reach us right there by sales@bettrData.io, and also by reaching out to this leadership team here directly. We're here to support and make things better out there in the data operations eco space. So thanks.